हाँ जी. So welcome to MALUKA IAS, and today we would be discussing two important questions from world history that we are discussing as a part of the answer writing program. This is, I think, the 6th class, friends, that I am taking up. Daily 2 questions are being discussed. काफ़ी students लिख के भेज रहे हैं, उनके आंसर्स का वीडियो वैल्यूएशन करके उनको वापस भी मिल रहा है. इसी सीरीज में आगे मूव करते हैं. द 2 क्वेश्चंस दैट वुड बी डिस्कस्ड टुडे इज, पहला क्वेश्चन है, what is big Germany and little Germany debate with respect to the process of German unification? How did Bismarck achieve the goal of little Germany? This is the first question that I would be taking up. The second question that is there is, in the context of German unification, write a short note on the following: romantic revival in Germany, economic unification preceded political unification. These are the 2 questions that I would be discussing. Friends, they are very very important question और आ सकते हैं डायरेक्टली, आपको ऐसे ही क्वेश्चन यूपीएससी में पूछे जा सकते हैं. Therefore it is important that we are covering those questions in a very comprehensive format. Now, पहला क्वेश्चन पे आते हैं. What is big Germany and little Germany debate with respect to German unification, and how did Bismarck achieve the goal of little Germany? पहले वी शुड बी अंडरस्टैंडिंग द आइडिया कि बिग जर्मनी है क्या और लिटिल जर्मनी का कंसेप्ट क्या है. व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट दिस बिग जर्मनी, इट इज जर्मनी प्लस ऑस्ट्रिया. जब हम यूनिफाई करेंगे, वी वुड बी यूनिफाइंग नॉट ओनली जर्मनी बट ऑल्सो टेकिंग पार्ट ऑफ, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, ऑस्ट्रिया ऑल्सो. This German Federation would be formed, and the formation of German Federation would be along with Austria. तो कहने का क्या मतलब हो गया कि ऑस्ट्रिया भी हमारे साथ ही आ जाएगा. Firstly, second is, what is the concept of little unification? Unification तो करना है, but without Austria, or even at times without South Germany. This is basically what are the 2 concepts that are there. Unification करना है, the idea without Southern Germany states, the idea without Austria, and that is sometime referred to as debate कि किसको हम unify करना चाह रहे थे और किसको, for example, हम साथ में मिलाना चाह रहे थे. नहीं, अगर this is little Germany की बात करते हैं, Austria is definitely out of this federation, but कभी कभी क्या होता है, इट इज नदर्न एंड सदर्न पार्ट ऑफ जर्मनी. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल आपने पढ़ा भी होगा बैटल ऑफ सडान, बैटल ऑफ सडोबा एक्सेट्रा. से पहले नॉर्थ पार्ट हुआ था, फिर जब फ्रांस को हराया 4 इयर्स डाउन द लाइन, तो फिर सदर्न पार्ट भी जो यूनिफाई हो गया. वेदर इट वाज ओनली फॉर लिटिल एंटिटी, द कंप्लीट जर्मनी वाज देयर, और द कभी कभी बोलते सिर्फ नदर्न पार्ट बोलने की बात हो रही थी. एंड डेफिनेटली वन थिंग इज फॉर श्योर दैट इट इज अ फेडरेशन दैट वुड बी फॉर्म्ड विदाउट ऑस्ट्रिया. और यहाँ पे क्या है, बिगर यूनिफिकेशन, बिगर जर्मनी, बेसिकली इन द कंसेप्ट दैट दे वर लुकिंग एट फॉर्मेशन ऑफ अ फेडरेशन along with Austria, उसको भी साथ में मिला लेना. So these are the 2 things that are there. The idea has been there. What one thing was for sure, that this idea that was put forward in such a way that they always wanted that the dominance of Prussia should be there. पहले वो तो पता लगना चाहिए कि आइडिया है क्या. Firstly, when the idea was put forward, it was put forward in a way that the domination of Prussia, because that was the only one state in which the locals were comparatively ruling at that point of time, and Bismarck interest was also this only. That इसलिए कहा जाता है कि Bismarck was determined to prevent the unification of Russia or this Germany. फॉर एग्जाम्पल कब, 1848 में जब फ्रैंकफर्ट पार्लियामेंट में लिबरल्स ने क्या किया था, उसको प्लेटर पे रख के दे दिया था किंग को कि आप ले लो जी, फ्रेडरिक विलियम फोर्ड. बिस्मार्क एडवाइज्ड हिम नॉट टू एक्सेप्ट द क्राउन बिकॉज कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोनार्की, जैसे आपको पता है, इट वुड बी कंपैरेटिवली अ वीक मोनार्की, बट बिस्मार्क वांटेड टू इमर्ज और यूनिफाई जर्मनी and wanted to emerge Germany as one of the most powerful nation that could be dominating Europe and other parts, for example this. And later on he also was successful in achieving this unification. हमें पहला, how did he achieve this goal of little Germany that was there? When you talk about unification, one thing comparatively becomes important, that he has to follow certain policies for that unification. फॉर एग्जांपल जैसे लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है, एक आइडिया पता होना चाहिए। 1851 से लेके 59 तक ही वाज प्रशिया रिप्रेजेंटेटिव इन द फ्रैंकफर्ट पार्लियामेंट डाइट दैट वाज देयर। उसके बाद द इंपॉर्टेंट डेवलपमेंट केम व्हेन ही बिकेम द चांसलर। It was when he became the chancellor that he got an opportunity to expand his army, and despite the fact that he did not get the budget passed from the upper house, is automatically खुद ही budget sanction करवाया for the development of the army. Why? Because his focus, achievement of his goal was that the forces of coal and iron was very important, supporting each other. The policy of blood and iron was comparatively very, very important, and that played a fundamental role at that point of time. Not only this, he had a policy achieved kaise? Anti-liberal. The liberal element should not be dominating at that point of time, and following this ideology, he started the unification at that point of time. Unification कैसे किया? Initially, for example, जैसे आपको पता है, Syllabus and Holstein was there. These two issues came, and he started the unification at that point of time. Initially, the issue was the unification of दो मुद्दा था, तो पहले क्या किया? ऑस्ट्रिया के साथ ही सेटिंग करने की कोशिश करी, कि ऑस्ट्रिया के साथ सेटिंग करी, and said that one part should be given to you, Holstein should be given to you, and Schleswig should be coming with Germany at that point of time. Bismarck was very clever in his diplomacy in the context that he understood one thing very clearly कि कहाँ पे किसका dominance है, कहाँ पे किसका dominance नहीं है. Schleswig he understood one thing very clearly कि प्रशिया से थोड़ा सा दूर था और यहाँ पे population comparatively कम थी. He was in a position to purchase, defeat the ruler of Denmark, get Schleswig for himself. Holstein was given to Austria, जैसे आपको पता, and one small duchy of Lauenburg was also purchased by him. 1864, just 2 years down the line, he became he became the chancellor. Not only this, the issue of Holstein was later on used by Bismarck to instigate the people of Germany, or to instigate, for example, Austria. And that led to what is called as the battle between Germany or Prussia, आप initial phase में कह सकते हो, and Austria at that point of time, and that is known as Battle of Sadova. And in a very short span of time, just 7 weeks, he was able to defeat Austria, and to the amazement of the world, the Treaty of Prague was signed. प्राग की ट्रीटी जब वहां पे साइन करी गई, तो टू सम एक्सटेंट दिस यूनिफिकेशन हैज टेकन प्लेस इन द नॉर्दर्न पार्ट. Now he wanted to have unification of southern part also. Some idea of little Germany has already been achieved, but he started instigating. For example, issue came जब स्पेन के थ्रोन का मुद्दा आया, स्पेनिश थ्रोन. The battle of Sedan was fought with France and was able to defeat the ruler of France in a with very ease, and therefore achieved the unification and led the idea, and he achieved the idea what is called as Little Germany, the unification of northern and southern part of the Germany by the use of forts in which the capitalist powers were supporting. He was anti-liberal, and the Germany that was there was dominant in for example the whole of Europe, and he was able to achieve his goal by his vision. इस तरीके से पहले सचल्सविग किया एंड लॉनवर्ग, फिर हॉलस्टीन एंड फिर सदर्न पार्ट ऑफ द जर्मनी बाय हिज पॉलिसी. तो आपको अच्छे तरीके से पता होना चाहिए लिटिल जर्मनी क्या है, ग्रेट या फॉर एग्जांपल ऑन द अदर हैंड बिग जर्मनी क्या है, किस किस को अचीवमेंट की बात हो रही थी. व्हेन इट बिकेम क्लियर दैट ऑस्ट्रिया के साथ हमारी कुछ कॉम्प्रोमाइज कुछ सेटिंग नहीं हो सकती, तो लेट अस डिफीट ऑस्ट्रिया, कम से कम अपने वाला एरिया तो साथ में मिलाए. First Sachsenweg and Lauenburg, and then after that, for example, Holstein, and then southern part of the Germany that was unified. And therefore, by defeating Austria, by पहले Denmark को, then Austria को, and then for example France को, he was successful in achieving his idea of what is called as a goal of a little Germany, in which northern and southern part of Germany was unified. तो इस तरीके से आप इस आंसर को लिखोगे, काफ़ी अच्छे पॉइंट्स आपको मिल जाएंगे. Therefore, whenever you are writing, write in such a way that it is very, very comprehensive when you are writing this. Next. In the context of German unification, write a short note on the following. A romantic revival in Germany and economic unification preceded political unification that is there. The first question is basically concerned about the romantic revival that took place basically in Germany, and what is this idea? When you talk about the idea or the concept of romantic revivalism that was there, it was basically in the context that 18th century in the 18th century, there was certain development that were taking place. The development that were taking place, it was remarkable developments that were taking place in the 18th century Germany. And they were basically concerned with art, music, literature, philosophical development that were taking place. And this movement initially, it was said that the ideas, the elements are almost common in another and southern part of the Germany. अभी यूनिफिकेशन की बात कहीं नहीं है, आप ऐसा कह लो this romantic revival, आप जैसे इस तरीके से बात करते हो, initially it was basically a cultural movement that had taken place, that had started. A cultural phenomena, cultural movement थी, which later on this cultural movement led to the awakening of the German population, and this awakening made this movement what is called later on as the political movement. Initially, romantic revival, art, culture, philosophy, music, this came, and that was a cultural movement that started, the romantic revival that was taking place. And बाद में जब awakening आ गई, हाँ यार सब तो same है हमारा, north, south, east, west वाले same तो है, लेकिन राजे बाहर वाली आके हमें rule कर रहे हैं, majority except Prussia, the things they started changing. And that led to what is called as political awakening among the masses. And to rise this political awakening, various thinkers, philosophers, historians, they were continuously working to encourage the people so that these people could understand what is the common culture that has been developed among them. One of the important name at that point of time was Goethe. He gave the idea and started writing poems, and in his poems he started preaching humanism. इंसानियत के तौर पे हमें इकट्ठा आना चाहिए. We are one identity, one common culture, and people got started awakening. हाँ यार, आज हम अलग अलग हैं, लेकिन डाउन पहले कुछ सदियों पहले we were one people at that point of time. Another various great philosophers, thinkers, for example, Immanuel Kant, he came, Hegel, he came, Fichte, he came, F-I-C. They came, and these people, by their philosophy, ideology, they started inspiring people. And one of the important person was Fichte, जिसने अपने ideas ही बहुत जबरदस्त थी and advocated that his ideas was, आप कह सकते हो कि it was a revolution in the German thinking. इसने क्या बोला? What he said that the German language, he said that this is the foundation of all other languages that have emerged with the passage of time. And we, जैसे बाद में हिटलर भी क्या कहता है, greatest culture, greatest language, we are the pure people. कहाँ से concept शुरू हुआ था by Fichte? He said German language is the foundation head of different languages that have emerged and was known as Sprache. That was the foundation head. क्या बोला? Sprache. मतलब क्या है? It is the foundation. German language is the foundation of various other languages that have emerged with the passage of time. And said that not only this, but when we talk about ethics, culture, origin of different nations, he said that the Germany is Urwak. URVOLK, that is the oldest and the most ethical of all the nations that are there. तो लोगों को लगने लगा हाँ यार, we are one of the greatest people that have ever born. We are the earliest people that have born. We have the earliest culture that is there. We have the earliest language that we have. That led to development and unification of different people. And this unification, initially it was cultural, and cultural unification से क्या होता गया? It was basically आप ऐसे कह सकते हो political unification हुई awakening के बाद. These people, they played a very important role in uniting, and this unification through cultural that was known as is what is being referred to as the Romantic revival in Germany, that a phase that started with cultural unification in the 18th century. This is what you have to write. The second part of the question that is there is also equally important और काफ़ी important question ऐसा पूछा जा सकता है. And this basically the economic unification preceded the political unification. Now, in Germany, various economic unification policies started under Prussia or under the leadership of Prussia. आप ऐसे कह लो that starting was a custom union was Zollverein. That was formed. It was a custom union that was formed under this. Germany, initially Prussia, was very much concerned about the continuous interference that is basically being made by Austria, and said that अगर हम political unification को छोड़ के initial phase में अगर हम economic unification ही कर सकें, why? Because political unification achieve करना एक secondary step है. That is, it was a concept of Zollverein, that is a custom union, has originated, had come up, was inspired by the concept of what is called as economic unification or economic nationalism आप ऐसे कह लो. That was there. And the Frederick William III, the king of Prussia at that point of time, he emphasized on the development of railways, roadways, and therefore reduced or ended the tolls and customs that were there at that point of time. All kind of taxes were removed, and not only that taxes were removed, but they also focused upon the development of communication to a great extent. Communication was to be developed, and what happened was, starting from 1819 till 1834, economically, all the countries, all the small states that were there, that became under the economic domination of Prussia, and therefore came out of the economic domination of Austria. Austria was not in a position to understand this unification that was coming up at that point of time. And therefore, when this economic unification that took place, that subdued the political differences that were existing among them. अब political differences automatically इनमें खत्म हो चुकी हैं, and now they started thinking कि हम economically अगर हम इकट्ठे हो सकते हैं, हम राजनीतिक तौर के ऊपर politically क्यों नहीं इकट्ठे हो सकते. One custom union was Zollverein. Attempts were being made कि और custom union भी बनाए जा सके. जैसे for example हम कहते हैं ना PTA, FTA, custom union, common market, single market, monetary unification कह सकते हो, physical unification, economic union. इस तरीके से जो डेवलपमेंट बढ़ती धीरे धीरे Zollverein की तरह और भी बहुत सारी कस्टम यूनियंस बनने लगी थी. इट वाज इंस्पायर्ड टू ग्रेट एक्सटेंट, एंड मेजर डेवलपमेंट टुक प्लेस इन 1858. Two important development was there. One is 1858, another is 1861. The important development that took place. There was Congress of German economists. They agitated for that we should be having a common coinage and a common cooperative organization should be there. The coinage should be there. The currency should be comparatively same. They started coming up. And another, the body organized this body itself. For example, the Congress of German Economists, later on they also organized what is called a National Chamber of Commerce in 1861. That was organized. तो कहने का क्या मतलब हुआ, दिस इकोनॉमिक यूनिफिकेशन दैट वाज देयर दैट प्रीसीडेड पॉलिटिकल यूनिफिकेशन, हम पॉलिटिकली यूनिफाई हो सके इससे पहले जर्मनी में इकोनॉमिक यूनिफिकेशन ऑलरेडी डेवलप हो चुका था टू अ ग्रेट एक्सटेंट, एंड दिस इकोनॉमिक यूनिफिकेशन सबड्यूड द डिफरेंट पॉलिटिकल फीलिंग्स और आइडियोलॉजीज दैट वर देयर। अब लोगों को लगा हम इकोनॉमिकली तो इकट्ठे हो चुके हैं, द टाइम हैड कम एंड परमानेंटली पॉलिटिकली भी इकट्ठे हो जाए, एंड द कंसेप्ट ऑफ यूनिफिकेशन फर्दर गेन अ मोमेंटम विद द पैसेज ऑफ टाइम। फ्रेंड्स, अगर इस तरीके से आंसर लिखोगे, therefore you will be definitely getting very great marks in Germany. In the mains, not else it becomes important that आपका conceptual clarity है। जो दो क्वेश्चन हम डिस्कस करे हैं, लिटिल जर्मनी और बिग जर्मनी, और फॉर एग्जांपल रोमांटिक रिवाइवल, जो ये वाले क्वेश्चन थे, क्वेश्चंस हो सकता है आपको पता हो, इसका कंसेप्ट पता हो, लेकिन इतने सिंपल तरीके से आप लिखो वहां पे आंसर, दैट एग्जामिनर को भी लगे हाँ ठीक है, दिस इज व्हाट इज द रियल डिमांड ऑफ द क्वेश्चन, और आपने फुलफिल किया, एंड डेफिनेटली यू विल बी गेटिंग गुड मार्क्स। इसको हम यहीं पे रोकते हैं। कल अगेन वी वुड बी स्टार्टिंग विद 2 more क्वेश्चंस जो आपके सिलेबस में दिया हुआ है, और फिर इसके ऊपर डिस्कशन करेंगे। थैंक यू वेरी मच।